Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CompTIA's Trend Watch, where we give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that from the research that we've been doing in the field of IT. Today, we're going to talk about the skills-based approach and some of the changes that the HR function might have to go through in order to really adopt and implement a skills-based approach across an entire spectrum of a career pathway. So we've been talking about a skills-based approach for a little while now. This is where companies are starting to look more at specific skills and less at broad achievements like a college degree. Companies are still looking at those things, but there's a change in the atmosphere these days where they are getting more specific about the skills they need. And they're doing that not just for hiring, but also internally. So 75% of companies say that they've made some kind of an investment, either a heavy investment or a moderate investment in a skills-based approach. And the investment can be quite significant because it involves building out a taxonomy or a catalog of all of the skills that you need in the company and how they apply to the individual job roles and how you would go about building some of those skills. So there can be a significant upfront cost to building a skills-based approach, but many companies are moving in that direction. However, only 19% of the companies that we surveyed feel like their HR systems are well aligned with this new direction that they want to go in. And the last bit of data that's important to know here is that when companies are thinking about the skills gaps that they have, and they've got skills gaps in every area of technology, from cybersecurity and data and software development, where some of the largest gaps might exist, all the way down to IT support and infrastructure, which are more traditional job roles, but they still have fairly wide skills gaps, and those skills are evolving. So as companies are considering all of these gaps and how they want to address them, 66% of companies are expecting to train their internal employees. And that's compared to 39% of companies that say that they expect to do some form of new hiring. So training is really the primary method that companies are expecting to use to close their skills gaps. But when it comes to the skills-based approach, I think a lot of the focus has been on hiring. And how exactly you evaluate candidates, or how you would go through an interview process with a skills-based approach as opposed to maybe a behavioral approach. So when companies are saying that their HR systems need to be improved, there are a few areas that jump out as being in need of improvement. And the first one that jumps out is performance management. And I think that gets back to this concept that a skills-based approach is not just for bringing new people in, it's how you develop the people you already have and how you evaluate them. And being able to assess skills is another huge upfront cost of building out this methodology. And that's where most companies say that they see some need for improvement. The next area of HR systems and workflow that companies are saying they need to improve is the candidate screening process. So maybe there's been some emphasis on how you conduct an interview, or what types of things you would look for in an interview candidate once you have them in, but there's not as much effort being placed on candidate screening and being able to surface up those best candidates for an in-person interview before you even get into the manager's office. And then the final one that companies are looking at is the actual hiring procedure. So going through not just that first interview, but all of the steps of making sure that this person's going to be well integrated into the team, making sure that they are fitting a need, and making sure that they're set up for success. So there are many areas of HR that need to be a little bit better aligned with a skills-based methodology. And the other thing that's going to come into play here is, just like companies are starting to look more closely at their technology and their technology investments, they're going to be looking closely at the investments that are needed to adopt a skills-based approach and to change some of the HR systems. And they're going to be expecting to see some results here. And a lot of HR professionals, or even technology professionals, may not have a good process in place for measuring the success of this shift to a skills-based approach. And so as companies are going through this, as they're purchasing new technology for these new processes, as they're making these investments in not just new products and new tools, but new workflows and new behaviors, they need to also be aware of how they're going to measure that investment on the backside. And hopefully, as companies go through all of this effort, we do get to a place where we are able to screen candidates better. We're able to give people a lot more avenues to successful careers than some of the pathways they've had in the past. And we're able to be more efficient about how we use our people. So that's all for today's episode of Trend Watch. We hope you will join us next time.